Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Today we are continuing our season preview videos, and today we're heading to the Metro once again to take a look at the Columbus Blue Jackets. If you like these videos, want to see more like them, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So the Columbus Blue Jackets, is this the year they finally get back to the playoffs? We know things go well for the Blue Jackets once they get into the playoffs, but can they make it? That's really the key thing. Can they punch their ticket to the dance in 2025? That's really what we're talking about for the Jackets. And considering the Metro Division, it is still a tough division. And, I see this division in kind of three tiers, or really two tiers. There's two tiers to this division, which I think is a good thing because that means there's a lot of parity. The problem with that is I think there's a significant gap between the top three teams in this division and everybody else. And unfortunately for the Blue Jackets, they kind of find themselves one of those five teams that's in the lower half of that. And I just think right now for the Blue Jackets, I see optimism, but I don't see it in terms of making the playoffs. That's the reality. So I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you guys think the Blue Jackets make the playoffs or not? Looking at this lineup, you've got Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan. We've seen that before in Calgary, right? Just putting that connection together. You've got Kirill Marchenko, like that. Yegor Chinakhov, Adam Fantilli, and Kent Johnson. Third line, Jenner, Sillinger, and Voronkov. Fourth line, Justin Danforth, Sean Kuraly, and Matthew Olivier. So overall, I like that center core. I think that's going to be a strength for the Blue Jackets here over the next couple of years. Sean Monahan is your first-line center. Yeah, he's not a first-line center, but you do have guys that can definitely jump into that spot and hopefully take that spot from Monahan at some point. You've got Kent Johnson, Fantilli, and Sillinger. All three of those guys, that's your core for the Blue Jackets moving forward. Gone are the days of guys like Dubois and those guys taking over those spots. These are the young guys coming in that are going to be your core guys down the middle. So Marchenko and Chinakhov and Voronkov, a bunch of Russian wingers. Those guys are going to be filling out your score sheet for the Blue Jackets over the next couple years, hopefully. Really nothing crazy in terms of changes. It's really Voronkov, Chinakhov, and Marchenko that you're looking at. Defense, a couple of changes, but nothing crazy. You've got Werenski, Severson, Provorov. That was your top three last year. And then comes in Jordan Harris, who they got from the Patrik Laine trade, and David Jiricek. David Jiricek is the guy everyone's looking at in Columbus. And Stanislav Sozil is another guy. He's not projected to make the team out of camp, but Sozil is definitely a name to remember, and hopefully I'm going to be able to pronounce his name by the end of 2025. These are two young players that the Blue Jackets see a lot of promise in. And I think that for the Blue Jackets, the question is that defense. Is that defense going to be able to hold up? Because I think there's a lot of really good, promising things on their forward group, but I don't think their defense is quite there yet. And I don't know if they're going to be able to put the pieces together. I think Jordan Harris was a great addition to this team for Patrik Laine, and maybe the value wasn't there for what they traded for Laine, but I think in terms of a good defenseman that they really needed to add to this team, that's a good trade there for the Blue Jackets in that sense. And I know they're going to say that they didn't get enough in this deal, but I think that's what they needed. And he's young, and he's probably going to continue to develop. He might even end up taking Provorov's spot on that second pair if things fall in the right place for him. Goaltending is something that I am a little bit on the fence about. You've got Elvis Merzlikins and Daniil Tarasov. I ultimately think Tarasov will be the starter in Columbus. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but I think it's coming. Kind of like a Lucas Dostal, John Gibson situation where we see, maybe a 50-30 split. 50 starts for Merzlikins and Tarasov gets 30 this year, 40-40 next year, and 50-30 Tarasov in 3 years from now, if not sooner than that. I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. I still have here, they need to clear the air on the distraction of Patrik Laine. That's done now. Laine is now a member of the Montreal Canadiens. They bring in Jordan Harris. Like I said, I think that's a good thing. I think ultimately that is going to help. the Blue Jackets, in terms of adding a defenseman and getting rid of a distraction that they don't need right now. Honestly, I think the Blue Jackets are a better team than people are giving them credit for. With that said, I still have them missing the playoffs with 86 points. You know, I ultimately think that it's Carolina, New Jersey, and the Rangers. All three of those teams in some order. And then you have everybody else, the other 5 in the Metro. And the question is, the million-dollar question, do those 2 Metro teams get enough points to beat out the teams like Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa to get into the wild card? Because I don't think that Columbus is there. And I really, in terms of the, because then you say to yourself, well, Kevin, of those 5 teams, where do you think Columbus sits? And I don't think you're going to like that picture either, because I still think teams like the Islanders and the Penguins are for sure ahead of them. Technically, I have Columbus 3rd on that list, and then Philly and Washington, and this is kind of a preview to my other videos, I have them below the Islanders and the Penguins, and in between Philly and Washington. So that's the reality of where the Blue Jackets are, and I think there's just been so much turnover with this team and not enough development. I think you're going to start to see the improvements with some of the young centers here, the young wingers, and now we're going to see just how good Jiricek can be, and Zozo possibly, and Tarasov. Like, there's a lot to like here, but there's going to be the growing pains because they're still young at key positions on this team, and I just don't think they have enough veteran leadership yet and experience to get them to the promised land. And you just compare them to the rest of the Eastern Conference, Columbus isn't there yet. And I think that's something that a lot of Blue Jackets fans would agree with me for the most part with. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think of the Columbus Blue Jackets? Do they make the playoffs in 2025, or do you think the drought will continue once again in CBJ? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. Who are the breakout players? Is it going to be a guy like Voronkov? Is it going to be a player maybe like Jordan Harris? Is it going to be a guy like Jiricek or Zozo or Tarasov? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts down below. As always, thank you so much for watching today's video. Stay tuned for more season preview videos here over the next couple of days. I'm going to be trying to post at least 2 of these videos a day, especially here for Labor Day weekend. I want to pump out some videos, get these done before we get into the preseason, into full training camp, because that time is quickly approaching. We are now heading into September. It is so exciting. I am so excited for the NHL season to be coming around. My schedule is going to be lightening up a huge load next week. So we're going to really be able to get videos out more and more. And I'm really excited for that. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you again next time. Peace.